They're from Alaska. Sarah, Lake Forest Park in Washington, welcome. Julie in Washington State, Dublin, Ireland, Nebraska, welcome. Chicago and California. Oh wow, it's going fast. Well, Melbourne, Wisconsin, Bronx, New Jersey, welcome. Oh, hi, California, welcome. Germany, welcome. Eli, UK, welcome. Idaho, Israel, UK, Washington State, Maryland, Budapest, oh no, Buda in Texas, Milwaukee, Ethiopian, French, and Portuguese. We are from all over the world. Argentine, France as well. Oh gosh, it's such a spread like a fan of intentions around the world. We'll give another moment. If anyone wants to add their location, Vancouver, welcome. Muskoka, Ontario, Canada, blessings to you. And I will pass the baton on to you, Yael. Welcome, everyone.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining. Eva, I see that you already are here with us. So we can add you to the spotlight, and we're waiting for Iya. Alma, she might come on Celine's name, so when you see her, please add her. And welcome, everyone. We're sorry we were a bit late. We were waiting for some of our wisdom keepers. And today we would like to look at crossroads. We will let the circle do the talking as we are all holding deep listening. And the circle will do the talking through our wisdom keepers. And at the very end, we will give a few minutes of silent offerings where we will just be silent and receive your sharing in the chat box. You can also use the chat box throughout the meeting. It will be open, and we just really ask to hold very deep listening. And the way we do it is based on traditional indigenous guidelines that we find when women lead those, it creates a safe, brave, feminine container, kind of like a womb where we all came from. And so I'm going to read those guidelines for us all to agree on, or at the end, if you want to offer a change, we'll give a few seconds for that, for the chat box. If you want to raise your hand, if you have something that you feel needs to be changed, we can do that. But for now, we can look at the guidelines. And so, as we said, this is a talking circle in the sense that the circle does the talking and we are doing the listening. So even when I'm speaking, I'm actually listening to the words, whether they come out of my mouth or my other self's mouth. We're asking to listen as deep as the womb, listen with the innocence of a child, hearing something for the very first time. Think about the first time you ever heard of a platypus or a pyramid or a unicorn. Before you know if it's true or not, if you think it's true or not, before you have an opinion, just let the story come and the words of the story, the water of the story to land on your soil like the raindrops. And you can choose what to take in, maybe not the whole story, but maybe a phrase, maybe a word, maybe the way someone said something might nourish you. For this is a potluck of offerings, and we all have our specific, unique plate and palette. So don't push away something and abstain from judgment. We want to be free of judgment, of titles, of labels, and allow the offerings to be offered. And for each one of us to take to your own plate and palette what nourishes you and leave whatever doesn't. We are asking to respect self other selves time and attention that are limited, for we are human. When we share words, we ask to do that from the heart. We cannot interfere with anyone's sacred path. So we cannot say what words are right for you. I can only say what words are right for me. We only speak of what we know to be true through our own lived experiences, not something that we heard and sounded good, but something that we actually have an experience that resonates with. We would like to not have cross-talking, so we ask to be muted when we don't speak. And even if you do not speak or you do not share your words, you will be heard. Often in these circles, you will find, we are finding that you think of something and someone else says it, maybe in a different way, but since the circle already heard it, there's no need to repeat that, okay? Because we are just really trying to co-create a circle of deep listening. In traditional talking circles, it is also confidential. We are recording this, but if you want to share something, please ask permission. And now is the time to suggest a change. If someone has something that doesn't sit well with them, you can put it in the chat or unmute or raise your hand. Okay, and with that, Celine, if you can open the space for us, take us into the sacred space with an opening blessing. Thank you.
Thank you, Yael. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good night for everyone in this meeting. I want to invite all of you to join me in a prayer. Close our eyes, take a very deep breath, very, very deep. Feel the present where we all are in the present. And please bring one intention to this meeting, to this moment, to this precious encountering of souls. My intention is to ask our Father, the Sun, our Mother, the Pachamama, the Earth, for put honey in our lips, always, to say just sweet words, to put light in our eyes, to see just the light of the goddess, and see just the peace, and see just our intentions became real. And I ask Viracocha, my father, to put gold in our heart so we can keep precious feelings for others and to appreciate very much the life we do have and see each other as siblings, as we really are. And blessing all the people in this meeting. Bless and make real their intentions. Please, all of us put an intention in this moment in our heart. The intention needs to be really clear. What is my intention? What I want to achieve through this meeting today. And pray for make that intention real. Take a moment to show gratitude for the life we do have, for everything we have surrounding us. We have water, we have some food, we have the company and the spirit of all this circle of women praying together, sitting together, staying together. Do not feel alone. We are all along with us. We are in a circle. This circle is sacred. It's a sacred circle of friendship, good understanding, compassion, faith, and hope. And I pray to Viracocha, I touch inti kiya mamang, chaska kuyurwan, the star, the moon, the Father Son, for cover us with a cape of blessing, protection. Protect Father Viracocha, each person in this circle, and their families and relatives and friends. Protect us with your love and make these people in this circle feel the love of Pachamama of them. Even if we do not realize, Mother Earth loves us so much and is giving to us everyday water and food. Pray for that. Show gratitude. I am interpreting the gratefulness of everyone in this praying. Thank you, Pachamama. Thank you, Mother Earth, for everything we receive every day. Thank you for blessing all the persons in this circle. Amen.
Amen. Lupananchiskama. Thank you, Celine. And it is said here in Alaska in the ancient teachings that when women come together in true sisterhood, connect to themselves, to the womb inside and around, great healing can begin. And something truly new might be birthed into the world as a good healed future. And so the very beginning is to come together in true sisterhood, which is, or true siblinghood, as we have other genders here joining us as well, as Celine was talking to, reminding us of the compassion and the friendship. The last time we were talking about unity, walking in unity with love. And so if we can do that and then connect to the womb, because even if you do not carry one in your body, you were carried by one, which is what helped you come into this world, allowed you to come into that world. And so with that, we would like to help get connected with the meditation that Diana will give us. So please, Diana.
Thank you, Celine, very much. Let's begin as we always do with kindling the light. This natural light. There it goes. Inviting you to kindle the light within yourself. Within your heart, within your core, within your womb. And inviting us all to close our eyes and breathe. Placing both palms on our heart. Taking a moment to tune into our heart in this moment. And if you have a womb in your physical body, place one of your palms on your womb. Otherwise, keep both on your heart. If your womb has been surgically removed, you still have an energetic, etheric womb. Please honor this space in you. And like Yael said, we all came from a womb. So if you don't have one in your body to this life, your heart remembers the beat of the womb from where you came into this world. Let's breathe. And let's pause for a moment the crossroad of the womb. One of the things the womb is so good at teaching us is patience. It is not, the womb is not our time, it is Spirit's time. The womb has its own time, Spirit has their own time. Wherever we want to be, in another place than in this moment, let's drop that into the depths of our womb, surrendering the need to be anywhere, to choose any path, to decide, to determine which direction might be better. The womb calls us inside. The womb whispers us inwardly. The womb asks us to pause. Let's pause together. Allowing pause to be our choice, not a direction. And from that pause, from the depth of no choosing, but being, what is emerging for you in this moment? Listen. Listen to the first inkling, the first word, first image. It is the right one. Allowing ourselves to agree, to surrender to anything we need to decide upon in our life in this day, to put it on pause for just now, our time together, our circle together, our listening together, to choose silence and pause over action and direction for just this hour that we have together. Thanking our womb for its wisdom, for the container of all possibilities, for the pause that we can allow ourselves within it. Thanking our heart for its constant beats, for the silence between every two beats. And beginning to return with our eyes closed to a sense of this moment in our body, sensing our feet, our palms, our spine, our posture, keeping our eyes closed and remembering our surrounding, the colors and shapes and objects and our orientation towards them. Imagining what would be the first thing we might see when we open our eyes. Wiggling our toes and our fingers, come more and more into this physical body and into this moment. And when we feel fully here, present, letting our eyes gently open. And welcome back. I see we have lost Yael. She's back.
I'm back. Sorry. Yes. Thank you so much, Diana, for helping us connect. And as Alma, our tech support, and my daughter is trying to help us get also Ia, our Black American wisdom keeper, we will start the sharing. Eva, are you feeling ready to share, Eva? About Crossroads? Oh, I think I need to ask you to unmute, right?
Yeah. Hi, Yael. Thank you, Diana, for this beautiful meditation. The theme is really interesting for me to share, so bear with me as I am not on the ground. I'm currently on a boat doing Atlantic crossing from Lisbon to Puerto Rico. And this is the same road that was that took slaves from Africa to the Caribbean and to the States. And so there's a lot of spirits and a lot of memories and a lot of things that are alive. And I feel actually that I'm in a womb of a whale, uh, like the story from the Bible, you know. It's interesting just to be here and seeing your message, because very often I miss it, Yael. And somehow I saw this email. I'm like, oh, okay, just remind me, because I also lost track of time and space, because every day on this crossing we're changing time zone. So I never know what's the time actually. So it's an interesting limbo to be in, and the infinite potential. Like it feels at a crossroad, and what happened at the crossroad is the decision of the impulse of like, where would we go? Like, because there's this multiple and sometimes infinite potential of choosing, and the choice brings in responsibility, and the responsibility bring the ability to respond rather than react. Reaction seems more easy. Something happened and we react to it, and responding right now is really heavy, to respond to what's going on, taking the responsibility of every word, every act, and really coming from a place of center when we're not on earth, or at least when I'm not being on earth, and yet feeling bercé, feeling held on a body of water, but not be in a water. So it's really interesting, because I don't know, I had just the illusion that I'm going to be on a body of water and I'll jump from the boat to the sea, swim and come back. I mean, obviously now I see that it's practically impossible. So the whole notion of womb, of peace, and how peaceful is it to be in water that are activated, are really stirring in us a reaction, a response. And yeah, for me, the challenge of the responsibility of what response to give to the circumstances that are pushing us into a polarization more and more, and into a state of despair and helplessness. Yet can we still, or can I still hold this infinite potential as at a crossroad between possible peace, and maybe it's not the peace that I have imagined. Maybe it's a peace that is there, that is possible, but it takes courage. it really requires so much courage because it's going against a statu quo. It's going against the visible, and it's stirring up something from deep within us, in our human body, but also deep within the planet. This body, this Mother Earth that is cuddling us into being, into higher consciousness. And will we be able to choose at this point of crossroad of elevating our consciousness, and not just as woman, as the holder of this wisdom, but inviting all gender, inviting the man, inviting all the different indigenous. We have a lot of indigenous leader here, people also from different tribe, from the Lakota, and I feel like they're carrying with them their wisdom, while at the same time there's a lot of there's little kids, there's like all this intergenerational perception. And so for me, it's really at this crossroad, it's an invitation for all of us to come together across culture, generation, religion, identity, whatever differences we may perceive of me and the other, and really seeing and embodying the other as my other self, that ultimately there's no other. There's really no other. And so if I accept that as a reality, then the choice at the crossroad and the responsibility to take is really present, is really real. I can hold on to it and trust the wisdom from within to be reflected in the wisdom outside by the other self that is me. Hope that makes sense, but that's kind of what I'm being present with after a whole week of being in this womb of the whale on the Atlantic Ocean. Thank you.
Shukran, Toda. Thank you. I think it's the same boat that our elder Anita Sanchez is on, our Aztec Mexican American wisdom keeper is on. So if you see her, give her a hug from us. And I'm so glad you're here because
Yes, actually, she is. That's so funny because I'm working with her, and tomorrow morning we're doing a ritual here with Pat as well. Really deep listening to the
oh,
spirit.
Pat McCabe too. Wow. Okay,
Yes, yes,
hug
yes,
each
yes.
other for us. Hug each
I
other
will.
for me. Yay.
I will. Yeah, Anita had shared a beautiful gift from the indigenous, and really the four gift of the spirit of around forgiveness, hope in action, gratitude, and healing. That's how we actually opened the ceremony here. So it's been really enriching, as
Amazing.
I said, intergenerational wisdom that is being shared and cared for. And it's just been a blessing to be in this womb of potential in here. Mhm.
And another thing I have to show you, so every time I bring different things to the altar, kind of what wants to come, and this time this mother whale and her two little ones
Oh,
that a friend
yes.
made for me in the Holy Land. And then you're
Uh-huh.
like, I'm like a whale. I'm like, wow, okay. So
Yeah, yeah. I
yeah,
definitely feel
it's
I,
just
the whale energy is very
yeah.
strong as the wisdom keeper. I feel I'm inside the body of the whale. I'm not the whale, but I feel like we're all being carried, and it's the remembering of who we are, and the remembrance of what this road, this journey from Lisbon to Puerto Rico, what it symbolized, and all the spirit that got lost in the process. It's very interesting to be witnessing that. Mhm.
Thank you for bringing it to the circle and
Thank you.
for that synchronicity with wombs, and you're in that womb. And as
Mm.
we're looking at crossroads, it's kind of like often seems like, two or maybe four possibilities, and when you bring kind of like the ocean of possibilities that could be
Mhm.
even more confusing confusing, or maybe not.
Yeah.
So thank you. And with that, Mona, my internet is shaky, but Mona, are you ready to share?
Hey, you're gone, yeah, Ellie. Here you are. Okay,
Yeah, my internet is a bit shaky, but
I understand. I understand. Um, so hi, yeah. Good evening, everyone. I don't know if it's an evening or a morning for some of you, probably different time zones. Um, and thank you, Ava, for the sharing and bringing this universal tone and responsibility, big picture tone, because basically I when I came across the the term of crossroad, I immediately it took me into a very personal space. And my sharing is going to be a little bit personal. I will also share a story. Um, but it's far more personal. And I'll try to connect it with the general lines that are happening right now. And actually, despite everything that's going on right now, with all the political situation, I do want to go into something different, into something about the feminine, into something about the personal, to something that I went through in my life. I can't recall if I shared with the circle, but 10 years ago, I had to leave my home that I really loved in Italy and come back here to Haifa with my children. We left my partner, who was not very kind, not very sweet. And I came alone with my 3 children, and since then I've been a single mom. Um, and there are two really important crossroads that I remember going through at the time. One was, like I was there being the mother, taking care of my children and having a really, really difficult relationship and bearing it because I thought that I need to bear it because I wanted my children to have a father. And no matter how abusive he was, I wanted to go through that, and I agreed to it. Until actually, and that was the point where there was like real like this. Like it was, I remember it very clearly as a point of, okay, I'm choosing a different path right now. There was like this one day that I said, okay, khalas, I had enough. That is enough. And I remember walking out into the garden, and I stood there. I looked at the sky. I was like, "You guys, I need help. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. Enough. Like, help me." And within a few days, the reality changed itself into a way that I was forced basically to end this relationship. He went like it didn't look nice. Yeah, he went into like this mental crisis, and he basically threw me out of the house, me and the kids. But it was just because I really, after like many years of saying no, I can bear this, I can deal with it, I can handle this, I can do this, taking in, like really crushing down into nothingness until I was like, enough is enough. And that's it. And the world just bended to help me out of it. It was amazing experience. And what had happened after that was that it was the previous war happening in Gaza, not this one, 2014. And I was living in Italy at the time with the father of my children, and I could not leave the place because they told me that, they were like they were scared, and his family was practically like threatening me that if I left, they would go something legal. So I was living at his parents for 3 months, and I was deteriorating really bad, losing my health. I was becoming like really skinny. I was having eating issues, like just going down the road. down the road for a really, really bad situation. And there was the second point in the crossroad where I remember I called my friends. I was getting the help of my friends, and I called my friend, my teacher, basically Lila Tresimer, her name. And I was talking to her on the phone, and I was like, look, I don't know what to do. I was everything that I would eat, my body would start shivering because I was really not well. I was taking things like really badly. And what she told me was, she led me through this meditation and told me to close my eyes and lean into all the practice that I've been doing all my life. So just like kind of came back into my center. And she said, you know, Mona, you're not going well. Like, you'll either go into a mental hospital or a bad hospital, and one way or the other, they're going to take your kids away from you, and that's not going to look good. So just change your mind. And I closed my eyes and I leaned on all the spirits, all my guides, all my unseen world. I just leaned. And when I came out, I was transformed completely. It was a whole complete transformation in which I realized that I need to take responsibility for myself. And so I shift within my mind from trying to be the victim who's being taken care of, like, okay, help me, I'm a victim, into like, okay, I'm taking responsibility for my life. And the day after, I was like, okay, I'm not going to be able to leave Italy. This is what's happening. I started looking for a job. I went looking for work. I looked for a house. I started like really getting my my act together. And what do you know? The door opened for me to come back. And just the moment I decided that I'm not being the victim anymore, it was just like this. And I came back here. And it took me a whole year to come back to being human, because when I came back, I was like I was a ghost. But these are 2 points in which choosing to let go of the victim consciousness, choosing to let go of the beaten one, choosing to take responsibility, choosing to trust life and trust the world and trust spirit, and just looking into the light, that my life completely shifted. I came here and things started working out amazingly. Really, I'm very grateful for what's going on in my life right now. Despite the crazy political reality, still, I feel like I'm definitely blessed. And so adding into that very personal story, I want to say that I am using these 2 experiences as the core of my behavior, or the core of what I believe in, which is basically shift the victim consciousness, trust spirit, and do whatever it takes. You know, like I keep saying this, trust in God and tie your camel. So you do both, right? And when I talk to my friend in Gaza, under the crazy situation going on there, this is what I keep telling him, like, it doesn't matter your reality, just create your own light bubble around yourself, take responsibility, and do what it takes to keep your heart clean and clear. And I really trust that spirit will help. And I think it's basically, for me right now, it's really on the personal. I don't know how to go how to go with a wider scale, because it's just so huge. I feel like I just have to keep digging and doing the personal work with my group, with my sangha, with my friends, just keeping the light there. So this is my sharing about Crossroads. Thank you.
Thank you. I really feel, as you're talking, how you are also held in kind of like the whale's belly in this ocean of problems and yeah, horrific reality. I witnessed last time you had bombings as you were speaking to us, and with you trying to help people on both sides and all of that which you're holding, yet you are being held in this beautiful bubble. And so just that piece that Eva was talking to, how it is possible, even in the midst of the whirlwind, as we've been talking about in former circles, is just so beautiful to witness. And the one thing I noticed in your story was your ability to ask for help, like that you were kind of like, I got this, I'm alone in this, I'll hold this, I'll be the single mom, the spouse, the one in this distress. And when you opened and just kind of like gave up, if you will, and asked for help, really open to like, all right, I need help, sky, spirit, help me. And then it comes. And then also reaching out to Leela, who kind of reflected yourself to you, and reminded you of yourself. Just, I think that's also a big part of we don't need to do this alone. The others here in Alaska say the time of the lone wolf is done. And so, we are held by other selves. And we start life or existence. You can't hear me? Or you want to say something? Okay, I'll ask you
There
to
you go.
unmute.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, so thank you, Yael, for this additional part about asking for help. I think it's really core and really important. And I truly also, I've been telling the story of Khalid, my friend in Gaza, and this is actually what happened to him. He just came like really asking for help, and just there was this immense opening and receiving so much support. I keep saying it's just his urge and love of life, And I think this is it. It was my love of life eventually that helped me go through. If we just could love life more than death, wow. I mean, I don't have a problem with death. Death is there, but I mean, right now we're in life, and I would love to love life for what it offers. Yeah. So thank you. I can talk more, but I'm talkative because I'm too tired. Sorry about this. Really very little control, so just mute me.
As you said, take responsibility for yourself. So you need to mute yourself when you listen.
Thank you.
And Diana, you were adding something important in the chat box, so maybe it's time for you to share.
I was answering the AI that said it's quiet here. I'm leaving in a minute unless I hear someone talking. So I said we're here. I don't know. I never communicated with an AI before, but somehow that's what caught my attention. So I answered it. It wasn't to do with our conversation at all.
So there is an AI with us here now. I thought I canceled it.
It says Crystal's AI note taker. So maybe someone specifically put an AI note taker. I think it's a detour.
Okay, so this is where I think it's some people when they join Zoom calls, it automatically starts. So this is where we're asking you to keep the kind of confidentiality we were talking about before, because I don't know, who it reports to and what it reports. So if anyone who has an AI here, note taker, stuff like that, if you can send them on their merry way, we would really appreciate it, because this needs to really be for humans, between humans, thank you for that. And Diana, so do you want to share about Crossroads?
Unmute. I was actually thinking I'll go last, so I'll ask Celine if you're ready to go. I would prefer to go last, but if not, I will go. Yeah.
I am wondering how we, coming from different sides in the world, we are here all together. It's impressive how far physically we are each from other, and we are listening just one word. We are thinking just one thought, and we are keeping just one hope. We all together in this womb circle. So to me, it's just the power of divinity in this circle. How we can come from so different places and stand up together, staying together. It's just magic how our roads has been crossing spiritually. Our souls has been meeting each other, and now we are in just one womb circle of womb. And it's amazing why we are crossing our roads, why we are here and right now. Why? What is universal purpose for this? Definitely is growing spiritually, is one. The other is sharing ancestry and expressing identity. Expressing identity for me, for example, is being who I am and showing to you openly and honestly, even if I feel vulnerable. I show my vulnerability as a gratitude for all people in this circle crossing our roads, and why the roads cross over the year, why we are together in this moment. What is the intention of the universe of bringing us monthly in this circle? Every month, we are building something definitely. We are building something strong. And what we build is a community of strong souls trying to keep the world in order, trying to touch the hope of the entire world. And my secret word is hope and believe. Believe in yourself, believe in other woman in this warm circle, believe in some relative of you, believe, but believe that human beings can be splendid, surprisingly good. The humankind can surprise us with attitudes of solidarity that you never expect, like the people in this circle, showing solidarity, showing compassion, showing mercy, and especially identifying each with other when our roads are crossing. Say hello. I am honored to cross my way with yours, as we do in Quechua. When we encounter with someone in the road, we say thank you, Pachachay Yatexi, for making our roads cross to grow up spiritually in the sense of the souls growing. And this is not just magic, is also made by our own decision and our own attitudes, putting effort to stay here, to cross the road, to push the boundary, to push the fences even further, and cross the border and touch the hand of the other in the circle and say, thank you for crossing my road. Thank you so much. That's it.
Thank you, Celine. As you're talking about going beyond borders, I'm thinking about, where you are and the work that you do. Maybe you can tell a little bit about that, because I can say what I heard from you, but I think it's better to hear from you directly.
Thank you. So I am a DI member at Doctors Without Borders. DI is the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. for make of Doctors Without Borders a wider organization, very respectful, anti-colonial, anti-racist, and they just chooses me because I am indigenous. And I am showing the power of being different, being vulnerable, being oppressed, and how this could be an asset for an organization to make possible the diversity, the equity, and the inclusivity. And we are talking about LGTB plus community, disabled people, handicapped people, Black people, people of all the races needs to believe that Doctors Without Borders is an organization anti-racist and neutral and fighting for equity and always trying to achieve justice, social justice for everyone. And this is my work. So the work I do traveling around is trying to understand how is working racism and how discrimination is affecting the medical care the patients receive, and transform this by giving conferences, by writing protocols, by pressing the people to understand what racism, very subtle ways are to get expressed in our diary work, and how we can overcome racism, social injustice, those things inside an organization. So I do work traveling around the world, talking about the importance of all the organizations to achieve diversity, to accept diversity, to build equity, and to be inclusive. Everyone, every single one. No one can be left behind because this will affect everyone, health and life. So the work I am doing here is that one.
Thank you, Tupananchiskama. And speaking of community and inclusivity, I see that there are several people who feel the need to share. So we will do today as we have in other times, where we will finish the core circle of our designated wisdom keepers. And then those who want or need to leave can leave without feeling they're missing out. And then we will open the second ripple with our community. So I will be holding that, and our wisdom keepers, I know, are very busy people, so most of them or all of them will not be able to stay beyond, but those in our community who want to stay longer, then that would be possible. And those who aren't, again, after Diana's sharing, will give a few minutes of silent sharing in the chat box. So please use that. But for now, let's hear from our red tent wisdom keeper, Diana.
Thank you, Celine, and everyone that spoke so far. You know, Celine, when you're speaking about Doctors Without Borders, I was thinking that when you stand in a crossroad, there is no borders, because then there wouldn't be a road. So the crossroads is the opening to all directions, to two or more, 2 or 3 or infinite directions that are all open for us for the choosing. And what you're embodying with your work is that exact possibility of no borders, no blockages, no stopping, no obstacles. The roads are open. So what do we do when the roads in all directions are open? So as often I do, I went back to the Hebrew word for the crossroads. And there isn't one word, it's a pair of words, parashat drachim, which would translate into an affair of roads. Parashat drachim. So the idea of standing in a crossroads, and each direction, each possibility is an affair that can happen, is a history that can transpire. and that we have the choice of which one to choose, of which affair to engage with, of which history to live out, to live and to leave, which history we're going to go towards and make, with our actions, and which history we're going to leave behind and not see what transpires there. And one thing I've learned from the card, there is a card, a tarot card deck that I love using. It's called the Mother Peace Tarot deck. They are round feminist cards. And the card of the crone shows an old wise woman standing at the crossroads, and there are three possibilities in front of her. And one of the things that she taught me through the years of working with these cards is that it doesn't matter, that the history, the lessons that I need for my growth would happen in each one of the options that I would take. It would be different in detail. The history would be different. The affair would be different. One of it or another of it might be pleasurable. Another might be painful. Another might be anything in between. But it doesn't really matter which I choose, because the lessons that I need would be revealing themselves in one way or in another in each one of the roads. So that's something that is stayed with me as a treasure whenever I am on a crossroad. And I wanted to bring the crossroad of the aftermath of the elections here in the United States, and the place, the crossroads of going into real despair about it, into real pain and depression about it, versus into being hopeful about whatever I can be hopeful about. And I realized that, like I said before about the old wise woman at the crossroads, the crone, either way I would take will teach me something. I'm not going to save myself a lesson by choosing one or the other. But it's so easy to take the road of despair. It's so familiar. It's so tempting. It's so, there's so many evidences to support it. And it would be an easy way to surrender into despair. And I'm working ever since the election results have been announced to not listen to the news, which I am not consuming news as a policy for many years now, and to actively seeking things in which I can make a difference more than I do or have been so far. Where there is hate, to sow love. Where there is separation, to sow unity. Where there is borders, to sow open doors. To bring seeds of change, seeds of hope, which is, of course, tempting, but not as easy as the despair is. Despair calls to just let go. The despair is a way of surrendering to no action, just crawling under a rock and being miserable about it. So I'd like to invite us to realize that the seeds, the sowing of seeds is in our hands. And before choosing a path, we can pick up the seeds that we can sow along the road that we walk, to do some guerrilla planting, to take handfuls of, fistfuls of wildflower seeds and to throw them on the road. We don't know what would grow when. We don't know who would enjoy the fragrance and the color and the beauty of what grows. But this is something that we can decide to do. This is a choice that we can make of the road that we are choosing to take. In this case, for me, a road of hope instead of a despair. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. As I was feeling, these these kind of crossroads and despair and frustration with the political stuff here in the US, and then what's happening in my motherland. It was like people ask me, so are you thinking about leaving? I'm like, where to? Like, my motherland isn't in a much better shape. And then I spoke to a friend in Germany, and she was like, yeah, Germany is like, it's not doing any better. And then a friend from the Philippines, and she's like, yeah, it's, you know, we're in the hands of dictators here. But I think what we're all holding, and maybe it's the kind of the benefit of being an immigrant or being, you know, from another part of the world and holding other pieces of possibilities and realities. Or maybe it's just that the American kind of mainstream state of mind is very rooted in politics, but it's like sometimes it feels like people here believe that politics is life. And it is a part of life, but it's not the entire life. I mean, there's so much more to our lives than politics or than the, you know, decision makers out there. And it is hard anywhere in the world right now because humanity is not in a good shape. And so instead of, you know, I think there's an othering with also with the leaders. They should have done that. They should be like that. He shouldn't be here. She shouldn't, you know, be there. Um, I think the question is where we need to be, where each of us needs to be, and what, you know, what you need to do. And, you know, it may seem small, but it's not, because that's your life much more than the system that you are in. And as you're talking about Parashat Drachim, the word in Hebrew, I look into Parasha and it's not only an affair, it's also something that unfolds like mifras, like the sail of a boat. And then it sends me back to the whale with Eva and where she's at on the ocean. And I'm thinking about the whale that Eva brought, you know, where Yonah, Anavi, the prophet, he didn't want to be a prophet. He didn't want to carry that message. He went into the ocean to try and escape, to then try and kill himself. And yeah, we're not going to get away that easy. And oh, wow, Iya Tahira just managed to join us. So yeah, let's hear from her once she joins. Internet is slow. Iya, can I ask you to unmute? I'll try and find her. Sorry. Alma, can you help me? Unmute her. Yeah, I don't see that you have a mic. So we may need you to try to come back with a doesn't let me, yeah. Doesn't let me see you or hear you. Interesting. Okay. So yeah, so you know, it's about Jonah from the belly of the whale. He couldn't escape. He wasn't let go that easily. Someone is talking? What? Oh, yeah. Now I see that you have a mic.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. We can hear you now. Yeah,
Can you hear me?
we can hear you.
All
Yes.
right. Well, this is another.
Oh, we lost you, Ia. Alma, do we still have Ia? No, I don't think so. Well, yeah. So the past two circles, Ia has been trying to come on and it's not been working. Wait, I see her again. We'll give it a chance. I see her.
Yeah, verse 1.
Yes, yeah, we hear you a little bit.
Well, I don't know. We just let it be what it is.
Okay, so we'll just hear you like that because yeah.
I don't know what else to do, honey.
Just if you can share what you have about Crossroads, yeah, that would be good. We were talking
Like
about
right now?
Crossroads. Yeah, because we're towards the to share from our wisdom keepers.
Yeah. Okay, well, anyway, one of the things, as I'm Iya Tikura, St. Croix Virgin Island, initiated priestess in West African spirituality and practice yoga in particular. We have a ceremony that we do. We recognize a crossroads all through our lives at crossroads. And so it stands to reason that today, when so much is going on in the world, that we stand at a crossroads. We're being called to stand in a way that we perhaps understood on our planet. Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's a bit flaky, but we can hear you. Please go on with everything going on in the world, you were saying.
Anyway, I don't know if you could hear me.
We can hear you. Elder Iya, we can hear you. Please speak if you can.
Okay, I was trying to say that as a yoga practitioner, we realize also different intervals of our lives, and that especially when our path is crossed up. Can you hear me? No.
But I got that from Yoruba traditions when we are at a crossroads, and then that's about it.
I don't know that we don't get any difference today.
We heard you now clear. Let's give it a little bit more try, and then if not, then we'll give it up.
Well, basically, crossroads are very important. We definitely are standing at a crossroads here in the world right now, because it's calling to us to make certain decisions about where we are and how we're standing in our own power, in our own peace. Until we can stand.
Think we are called to do as we did last time, Ia, where you add your offering afterwards in a video form, and then we add it and we give it to our community. And it is in our playlist on YouTube. I will put the link afterwards, and you can hear that as well. That is, yeah. Okay, so yeah, it's very hard to hear. So I think we'll do as we did last time. I will text you about that afterwards. And so for now, let us close this first ripple, this circle, this part of the circle. And Eva, I'm wondering if you can give us maybe the closing blessing.
Checking.
Yes, with pleasure. Can you hear me? I opened the window because it was hot, and so you can hear the ocean actually. It's
Yeah, we hear you.
interesting. And I want to go back. I couldn't remember the name of the prophet that got sucked in the whale womb, and you said it was Yonah. I thought it was Jonathan. And Yonah in Hebrew means a bird, a column. And so I was sitting here with the image, the symbol of how our hope, where we will be carried out into the air from the womb of potential, which is the whale, which the whale symbolize, and the water. From there would be a bird, the column of peace, the symbol of peace that would come out with the message that it had received from the womb of the whale. And so I really invite us all to connect to our womb, putting our hands on our womb, whether you have physical one or non-physical one, it doesn't matter, as Diana shared earlier in her meditation, and really connect to this potential of peace that is only longing for activation. It is here, it is within us, it's present. Can we allow it to embrace us, the full of us, to connect to our heart, to have a direct alignment between our womb of potential and our heart filled with gratitude to the life that we have and that we can offer in service to the raising of consciousness right here, right now, in this challenging time that we are going through as humanity, and to understand that for humanity to prevail, it would take us to contribute. It would take us to be responsible for our own action, words, and thought. And if we can just focus and stay connected within us, between us, and around us, because ultimately we are all one. And so from this womb of potential that the ocean here represent, and the whale carry, and the column of peace is representing, keep this symbol in your heart and carry it forward until we meet again. Thank you.
Thank you. And I forgot to ask for 3 minutes of, or 2 minutes of silent offerings from our community. So please, let's do that now. So thank you, everyone. We are closing this part. Any encounter is a co-creation, and this has been a very beautiful one. Thank you for being here. And we are closing this part. Alma, if you can put the reciprocity, if anyone wants to help us make sure our wisdom keepers are nurtured as they're nurturing us. There's a donation link, and hopefully our newsletter will recover, and I will be able to send you a newsletter for next circle. It's on December 8th, right, Diana? I think so. And yeah, we will close the YouTube